We are going. Zach Costello. Is it Costello?
Costello, Costello.
Costello. Costello. I see the double L, and that's what always fucks me up because I want to be like Castillo.
I've heard that too, for sure. But I'm like, I'm Irish, not Italian.
Yeah, I know. Your name's a little confusing. I love it, though. How are you, man?
I'm doing really good.
Really, really good.
Busy time in my life, so
Yeah, we were just talking about that, man. You have an awesome 8-week program or a 12-week program going
12-week
on.
program.
You're staying busy. I really wanted to sit down and talk because you train at St. Charles MMA, and well, when I say train, like you run classes out of there. You are a trainer,
Correct.
and dude, we've had so many conversations about training and whatnot, and I just want to sit down and talk to you because you actually train such a unique population in the sense like you train Gen Pop, but you do a lot of water aerobics as well, like outside of St. Charles and at
Yeah,
another location, right? So
yeah.
that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you because like that's some interesting shit. But first, I wanted you to take me back a little bit and like what's your like how did you get into training? Like what were you always like active or like
Yeah,
what's your
I grew
story
up
a little
playing
bit?
just like the sports all kids play, like basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey. And I played those four sports like all year round. Not as so much basketball, but hockey and soccer and baseball like all year round till I got to high school. And when I got to high school, my dad was like, "Hey, you're really good at soccer. You should just try to pick one sport you want to excel at." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just going to focus on soccer."
So you only did soccer in high school?
Yeah, in my junior year, I played baseball, but I played soccer on varsity all 4 years.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't even play club until like I was like a freshman in high school because I have six brothers. My parents put all of us through like Catholic schools. We lived in North County, St. Louis. So they just wanted to put us through like a good Catholic school.
Dude, where are you at? Like so where at in the six are you?
I'm number five.
You're number
Well, there's
5?
seven of us total. I have six brothers.
Oh shit, man. That's a big family, bro.
So it's
And you
like
guys
my,
y'all went to private school? Everybody did?
yeah.
Oh man, your parents worked hard for
So I
that.
live in St. Anne, Missouri. And so the local like Catholic school there was St. Kevin when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then my older brothers went to a school called St. Gregory, but when my parents moved over to St. Anne in a different location, because there's a lot of like Catholic schools, like 20 years ago, there's like Catholic schools everywhere.
Yeah, well this is a big Catholic community here in St. Louis.
Totally. And so we went to all these Catholic schools. Then we went to Catholic high school too. So we went to Catholic high school in West County. And that was really expensive. So when I got out to West County and I started playing soccer there, because all four of my older brothers went to JFK,
What's
at which
JFK?
John F. Kennedy Catholic High School.
Okay.
It doesn't even exist anymore.
Okay.
It just closed last year or 2 years ago. And so we all went there. And then what got me really heavy into soccer and me being like such a better player is one of my buddies that I went to high school with. His name was Robbie. I was like, hey man, I want to play for a really good team. He got me involved with Bush Soccer Club, which is like a really elite soccer program at the
Right.
time. And it always is. And so we started playing soccer together. And through playing, I got a lot better through my high school career.
Right.
And I wanted to play in college. And so when I went to Merrimack, I eventually wanted to be like an EMT paramedic, and that's what took me to Merrimack.
Okay.
So I played soccer at Merrimack for 2 years.
So you were like training to be an EMT.
Yeah, I went through EMT school. But what got me into fitness was my wellness teacher. That was like she was in her 60s. Her name was Linda Teat. Miss Linda Teat. She was awesome. She totally changed like my whole life and like perspective on like ways to think.
Yeah.
Her husband could speak like 6 fluent different languages.
Oh, that's cool.
They were just like so articulate. She was amazing. So the whole semester she would bring up stories of her husband because he was in an accident at her house.
What kind of accident?
He, I think, was working on a ladder.
Oh, and he like fell.
He fell and hit his head.
Oh shit.
Like lost his memory. Couldn't even really speak well anymore. I think eventually they like lived in separate houses because he could take care of himself, but they like couldn't live together.
Yeah, he was just like a different person after he hit his head.
Totally.
Dude, the brain is a funny thing, man.
Man.
You hit that head and you don't know what's gonna happen necessarily.
And she like stuck by him the whole time.
Yeah.
So she'd like bring up these stories, and I think it was like nutrition and wellness concepts was a class that I was taking at the time. It was like the only morning class that I had. It was like at 8 a.m. I was driving like 25 minutes to go to school. I didn't have any classes till like 3 hours after that, and that was like the only class that I like made on time. I was in class there all the time because
Oh
she
yeah,
inspired me so much.
nice. It's good to have that person that inspires you, that can kind of like spark that interest. I was talking to somebody at the gym, and he said that he had a teacher. He wanted to do for a project. He wanted to do like a podcast where he like would interview veterans so they could like tell their stories. Some of like the more like horrific shit, like if they wanted to get that off their chest. And the teacher told him that'd be a bad idea, and nobody would want to listen to that. What the fuck? That teacher should be fired.
I agree. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
The whole,
Continue though.
but yeah, the whole semester revolved around this family story,
Okay.
and she just was like a really like not like an in your face person because she could be so calm about it, but she was just so sincere,
Hmm.
and she meant everything she said from a teaching standpoint also. And at that point, when I was playing college soccer, I got like more into like lunging, squatting, push-ups, just
Yeah.
doing all like the crazy stuff just because I was a really small kid.
Just more body weight stuff.
Yeah, I was like one of the smallest kids on my college soccer team.
Yeah.
Even as a freshman playing varsity and being a senior playing varsity, I was still like one of the smallest kids. I'm only
So
like
you
5'8".
so you didn't do very much lifting in high school. I don't think many soccer teams like
No, we
have
did
strong
like
strength and
we would do
conditioning
like lunges,
programs.
we would do push-ups, like we would do all that stuff through high school, but I didn't really like start focusing on like
No,
form.
like barbell work though, for real.
Uh, I mean, it wasn't like something that was like, all right, soccer team, go in the weight room and start lifting. It
Yeah.
wasn't anything like that.
Right. So you didn't have much exposure to that then until
I took weightlifting as a junior in high school.
yeah, that's kind of like your first
Yeah,
real lifting.
yeah,
Oh wow.
experience, yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like I got really into like the functional stuff when I was in college. And then so I actually talked to my teacher that was like so inspiring to me, and I was like, I think I'm gonna go into like personal training, wellness, nutrition, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think that's a really good idea. So after I got out of college, after 2 years, I didn't want to go to another school and play soccer. I really didn't have like a whole bunch of offers on the table. I wasn't like seeking out a whole bunch of offers. Almost like my whole soccer team ended up playing at Webster together,
Oh really?
which is really, really cool. I think they ended up winning like their conference and region stuff together. So I went to that game and watched them play. So that was really awesome to see some of my friends play again. But after that, I was just like, I don't want to go to university. I
Yeah.
don't want to spend all that money. I don't want
I
to.
don't blame you,
I
dude.
think there's like many, many different sources of education out there besides like spending so much money and being in debt. And I wanted to make money like right away, so I wasn't about to like be in debt
Yeah.
and like be a part of like learning how to be a good student because growing up I wasn't just like an Excalibur student to begin with. I was like outside
Yeah.
way late at night, not doing my homework. I was outside playing all the time. I was just like, if
Yeah.
we weren't in the house at 6 p.m. with like our hands washed because my mom and dad made like a home cooked dinner every single night, it's like you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Be home at 6 o'clock for dinner
That's funny.
every night.
Yeah, dude, you gotta be home when the streetlights come on. Fucking yeah, that's good that you did that though, man, because I fell in the trap, man. Like I went to the 4-year university, like I got my bachelor's, even went back and got my master's, and I don't think like it was really worth it. Like it is if you want to do the corporate shit maybe,
Yeah.
but like you realize that it wasn't for you and you're like, fuck that, I want to start making money.
Oh yeah. I mean, my older
And
brothers in
that's
it.
it wasn't even very encouraged at that time for sure. Like there weren't like celebrity entrepreneurs like there are today.
I think what like this is super fucked up. This is like more on like a personal level because I wanted to do it so bad. Like being a personal trainer and like just being part of like the fitness industry was something that I like really wanted to get into.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to be like a 190, 100, 200 pound guy, you know. Like I knew I was like I'm like a small petite figure. I'm like 160 pounds. I'm 5'8".
Yeah.
I have like just like an athletic build. I feel like I'm like comfortably good at like all sports, all like extracurricular activities and stuff like that. And then I just got really good at functional training. So like I was like, okay, I really want to do this. So then after I got out of college, my 2 years at Merrimack, it was all paid for, by the way, at my college. So I didn't come out of school with any debt.
Yeah, that's good.
So as soon as I got there, I just bought my personal training certification.
Right.
And I told my mom and dad, I was like, I'm going to be a personal trainer. I was 21 years old. Well, I think I just was 21 years old. And I was like, I'm not going back to school. They're
Yeah.
like, you're not? I'm like, no.
Why? I mean, what's the point of going to school,
This is
right?
what
To
I
get
wanna
a
do.
job, right?
Yeah.
And this is the job that you want.
Yeah.
What cert did you get?
NESA, National Exercise Sports Training Association. So my dad was like, "You need to get a job." I'm like, "Why?" I have a job. I'm a lifeguard right now. Like I was lifeguarding at the time, and I was doing a couple other things, just like side stuff. And my dad's like, "You can't be a personal trainer." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You can't be a personal trainer." I was like, "Well, I'm buying the certification. Like I'm about to be a personal trainer." He's like, "You can't do that." So my little background on my dad, he's like 68 years old. He's worked for the same company for like 45 years.
Yeah, a completely different time.
Yeah.
Like
So
he grew up in.
I don't think he was just like aware of like what possibilities like were out there besides like doing something that he did. And I didn't like take offense to that, but I like, you know, took a step back. And then like I think a week or two later I was like, "Dude, mom and dad, you told me my whole life I can do like anything I wanted to do if I put my mind to it. And now that I want to do something, you're telling me that I can't do it?"
Yeah.
I was just like, "I'm totally going to tell you no, and I'm going to do it."
Yeah, that's good that you did that, man, because I think that's such a common thing. Like, like parents mean well, right? And they tell little Jimmy or Susan like how like they can do whatever they want when they grow up, right? But one, a lot of times they don't tell them how to actually do it. And then once you get to a certain age, it's like they stop telling you that. And if you do try to do it, they tell you not to do it.
Yeah, and I think they just didn't want to see me fail.
Yeah, it's just fear, right? It's like they're just worried for
And
you.
it never conflicted our relationship because me and my parents have like such amazing relationship.
Yeah.
We're really close. I see them every week still. And it's like that was 10 years ago. And it was just crazy how like all this time's flew by, but through the first 3 or 4 years, I never really talked to my dad like business, anything.
Right.
I didn't tell him about my failures. I didn't tell him about like my successes, through the grapevine, through like family conversations out on Sundays and like all this other stuff. He'd like want to be more involved, and it's like, "Oh, this happened and that happened," and then it'd be like a bad night and like a good night. Because I was new. I didn't even know what I was doing. I literally started from nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't want advice from anyone else because I didn't know what advice to take. I didn't even know what type of trainer that I wanted to be. My brother was in school to be a chiropractor, so like I got a lot of advice from him. He's the one who like introduced like meditation to me and learning how to like relax because I'm a super like intense, like pretty high strung person sometimes. I can be like pretty intense. So it's just like for the first 2 years, we didn't really talk about that. And then like as the years went by, 6, 7 years after being a trainer, trying to do my thing, watch me change, just like evolve real slow.
Yeah.
He like totally came for a full circle. And
Yeah. Well, hey, man, fucking after enough time,
yeah,
you put in the work. So what kind of things do you like to like, what have you turned to study? I mean, I feel like today, all the real-time information as far as health and wellness and fitness is concerned. I mean, obviously books that are being like published right now, but I mean, like podcasts are huge. I mean, you have the people who are actually doing the work, doing the science. They're going on these podcasts. They're talking about the results real time, like what they're finding, like what's happening right now.
yeah,
So between podcasts and books and I mean, shit, yeah, just reading, you can fucking get a high level education.
yeah,
The best,
without having to pay
without having
all
to pay.
that money.
Exactly.
And you're getting shit from experience instead of like theory in
The
college.
actual people doing the work.
Yeah. You're going to go learn about fitness and nutrition from a guy who's like 100 pounds overweight,
Yeah.
says the same stuff every single year, which
Yeah.
is like,
Well, and the problem is like these universities, like all that information, it's not being assimilated to them until much later. You know what I mean? Like, so the things that they're teaching, it's the same with a lot of these certifications, like these credentials, depending on the certification, but a lot of these like training certification, especially for maybe just like the generic like personal training one, like once you start getting into like more like specific certifications, but like you'll see I took a nutrition cert, and there's some good information in there. However, it's based off a lot of like old information. Like it's not super like real time. I mean, it's probably, I would guess it's probably taken like 7 years for this information to even get to these people. Like I've heard a number how long it actually takes current science to actually get into university and like start being taught. It's an ungodly number, but it's probably the same for these certifications as well.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, man. So back to my question from my rant. What do you like to like read or listen to or study?
Ben
man?
Greenfield's a good author.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, Ben
He has a good
Greenfield's
book called Beyond Training. Just
Mhm.
goes like more in depth about,
Yeah.
just like science and stuff.
I've been debating on whether or not I want to actually read that book or do the Audible version. I don't know yet.
I'm a big
I like,
put a book in front of me, flip the page type of thing. I highlight a lot, like
Yeah.
nuggets that I get from books and stuff.
for sure.
So I do watch like YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, just basic stuff too. I think when it all comes down to like, I talk to my brothers a lot too. They're functional neurologists, chiropractors.
Yeah.
They're like heavy into like the holistic nutrition part, and it just all comes down to just eating what's real, like vegetables, fruits,
Yeah.
lean meats, and staying away from a whole bunch of dairy and poultry stuff. Staying away from like gluten and bread. It's like you got it going on.
Yeah, man. I mean, all you have to do is just eat, real food. It's pretty simple.
Right.
You talk to people and it's so complicated for some reason in their mind. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what to eat. And in all fairness, there's just so much misinformation, right? It's just so many like just bad facts out there. Fat is bad, or it's like for who knows how long everybody was told to like eat margarine. Like that's just plastic.
It's
You
crazy.
know what I mean? And then it was like, well, eat like low fat, low sodium, but it's just like completely processed like
Crap.
crap. It's not even real food. It's like you might as well be in like a cardboard box or something, right?
Seriously.
But this is what people are told that's healthy, right? It's like things that are in the box, right? If it has the right packaging on it, you know what I mean? Or if it has like if it says natural on it, or if it's green, or,
Everyone's misled.
it's crazy, man. It's hard waters to navigate, but it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? Just eat like real whole food.
This is what I tell people all the time. People who ask me, is like, what should I do? Should I do like keto? Or should I, just take out carbs? What do I do when I need to lose weight? I'm like, well, what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Give me what you're eating like right now. Do you
Yeah.
think you can literally take all that processed stuff out of your life like right now? They're like, no. I'm like, just try to be a little healthier. Take away a bad habit and put in a good habit. Take away a snack and add an apple.
Yeah, man.
Slowly just implement like more healthy stuff into your lifestyle and take away the bad. So then eventually you're leading like somewhat of like a healthy new lifestyle because you're
Yeah.
not on a diet. You're just trying to find something that like works for you, something that's like simple. So as time goes by, you're going to start living like a more like natural holistic lifestyle anyways. You're
Yeah.
not going to veer towards like your old habits. And then while you do that, you're going to see your weight come off. And then you can do a keto, you can do like a carb load, you can do like a carb cycle, but if you can't not eat processed foods like right now, what makes you think you can just go keto and do like no carbs right away? Just
Yeah.
eat what you're eating now, slowly take away the bad shit, add the good stuff, and then slowly your lifestyle's going to change because everyone wants shit just to happen like right now, right now.
Yeah, it doesn't happen right now, dude. It's a fucking life. It's a lifestyle change, right? And that's what people don't understand.
Totally.
Or some do, but you have to, or at least you have to make them understand that. Like, this isn't something that we're doing just for right now. We're changing the way you live life. It's that simple. You know what I mean? And like, you didn't get this fucked up overnight, so it's probably it's gonna take some time to like get you back to where you want to be. So,
For sure.
especially, I was telling a client once, at this point where we're starting right now, anything we don't have to like get into like the weeds on a lot of things just because just anything that you're doing is going to be an improvement. So like let's just get you moving, let's just get you eating a little bit better, and like we're going to start seeing results. You know what I mean? We don't have to like get super specific on some of these like on certain things, you know what I mean? Like let's just big picture here. Let's just fix some small things here and there and then keep moving forward.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like shit, it doesn't have to be super complicated. It's
Right.
like let's just start eating more vegetables. Let's cut out some of the processed foods. Let's go on a walk every day. These aren't extreme things. Like let's just drink a little bit more water. You know what I mean?
Super easy lifestyle changes.
Yeah, just
That's
real
it.
little things, right? And then also, do you try to address like the like the root causes for like some of these people, like why they eat? Do you ever talk to people about that? You know what I mean? Because the relationship there is usually much deeper than people usually want to like address.
Yeah, I think that like food for a lot of the people that I train is like a huge issue. I don't even I think them coming in like busting their ass and like working out with me and learning like awesome new exercises is like super fun for them. But like when they go home and then they're alone and then like they don't know what to do,
Yeah,
like food is like comforting for them.
yeah,
And it's like almost really really sad to see because
yeah.
like food is just like I feel like nicotine or like any other drug.
It can be.
It's like their dopamine rush. It's like I can't wait to go home so I can eat all this food, even though they don't want to do it.
Yeah, man, and some certain foods are trigger foods, dude. Like, dude, I can't have certain things in the house because I'll eat the whole. Like, if I have ice cream, it's gone. Like, I will eat it, and like I get the satisfaction from finishing it. It's it's just fucked up, dude. Like, it's serious though. Like, trigger foods are real, and it can be like you can just take you over the top. And but I don't know how many people actually address like what their relationship is with their food and actually why they eat. Like, are you a stress eater? Are you just like you get sad and you eat? Like, why do you eat? You know what I mean? Are you just you're bored so you're snacking? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a good question to ask.
I think that some of the people that I have encountered in the past eat because they're unhappy.
Yeah.
They don't want to do other drugs, but eating is something they're good at,
Yeah.
and it's super comforting. So they're just going to continue to do that until like anyone else hits rock bottom. Then they want to change, and it's like, well, then how do I change? And then they come and find me, and then they eventually like will start breaking down, telling me like what's going on with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like you just said, you're way more than just like a trainer to some people. You're not like their therapist, but it's like you're
Yeah.
like their mentor. You're their go-to person. Yeah, you're like that person that they believe in because they believe in you.
I don't even like the term trainer. I mean, I just call myself a health and movement coach.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
I call
Because
myself a fitness professional.
yeah, I don't like that. I mean, yeah, there is there's personal training going on like, but when it comes to the health conversation, like that's just like one aspect, and I don't we don't even have to do that. Like, I can actually work with you and help you get healthy, and we don't even actually have to do this piece. You know what I mean?
For
Like,
sure.
we can address other issues of your health because from a holistic standpoint, there's a lot of different things to talk about and address. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like you said, as a trainer, if they are coming to you for that movement piece and they want that private one-on-one, it's like oftentimes there's a lot of conversations there where we're much more than just trainers.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. So, yeah, this is a good conversation, man. I feel like we went on a huge tangent there. Well, not really, but I want to bring it back to your story a little bit with some of the population that you're talking or that you're working with now.
Oh yeah, and the water aerobics.
Yeah, man, because you work with such a crazy population in the sense that a lot of people do Gen Pop, but I mean, I don't really talk to a lot of people that actually specialize in like water aerobics, and then you work heavily with like the geriatric population. So
In
a
the
lot,
water aerobics
yeah,
specifically,
exactly,
yes.
right. So yeah,
So yeah, so
combined.
so
Yeah, so that,
actually like 2 years after I got certified as a trainer, I just did all like one-on-one stuff. I just did house to house. I got certified. I just would like meet people, put stuff on like Craigslist, just try to like get my name out there.
yeah,
So it's primarily like even I did a lot of downtown stuff, St. Louis, and then like Kirkwood area. Even in University City, I did a lot of stuff. And I would do house to house. And I was also working part time as a lifeguard, trying to build my personal training business up to be able to quit lifeguarding to train full time.
right.
So then I
Because
was
it doesn't
training
happen overnight.
totally. It took like 3 years. Well, it took about a year
Yeah,
to be able to quit lifeguarding because as I was doing that, the teacher that had been teaching water aerobics for like 25 years wasn't teaching anymore. And so like I was coming into like lifeguard and they were like, we're looking for a new water aerobics instructor. And I was like, what? Really? I was like, Liz. Her name's Liz Vorbeck. She's awesome. She worked at the pool for like 30 years. I was like, Liz, I'll do it. Can I? I
You
was
say
like,
fuck it. Let me just.
I was like, can I do it? She's like, do you want to do that? And then so like point and that point at my life, like as a trainer, like having one-on-ones, not being super experienced, you would have people cancel on you and like not pay you.
Yeah.
You would train people and then they would drop off and still not pay you. So I was like, yeah, Liz, I want to do it because it's guaranteed money every single day. I can cancel all the people that I'm training right now in the morning time. I will teach your water aerobics class. So she went to the director of the city because I wasn't water aerobics certified. She's like, hey, Zach's a trainer. He does this. He's been working for the city for like 6 years already. Can he teach my water aerobics class? And he was like, yeah, he can do it. And so that next session rolled around. So I just did her class with her. And I probably kept like 60% of the stuff that she used
Oh
because it
yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
How long you been doing this now?
I've been doing water aerobics for about 8 years.
Man. And how? So, what's the age range for the people that's coming in there?
There is definitely not a lot of young people,
Right.
but I had like a 24-year-old in my 25-year-old in my class that suffered like back injuries and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was like some of the only exercises that she can do at the time. But I
Yeah.
would say like
She.
mainly I would say like 45 to like 92.
Yeah, but mostly it's like what, like 60s. You have a lot.
70s.
70s.
I
70.
would say like 70. Like I would probably say like 60 or 70% are all in their 70s.
Yeah, so just a much older
Oh
population.
yeah,
Well, I mean, and it makes sense, right? Because you have the water, so you're gonna decrease all of that fucking like load on your joints,
definitely.
especially if you can't move well, if you are heavier, you know what I mean, less impact. It makes sense,
You're
right?
on one leg for like 15 minutes at a time doing exercises with the other leg. Like
Yeah.
there's just like so much stuff that you can do in the water that you can't do outside of the water.
Oh yeah,
With the
yeah.
resistance, the buoyancy.
Yeah, and it's sustainable, right?
Definitely.
Especially once you start getting into like advanced age, like before you get there, you should start thinking about like sustainability and longevity with your training. But I mean, once you are there, like you have no fucking choice but to like focus on like what you can actually do. You know what I mean? Because you can't make up for it anymore because you're young enough for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, I've noticed working out so much one day and then like feeling so sore, being in the water for 2 hours and getting out of the water and being like, holy shit, I'm not sore anymore. I feel great.
Yeah. I mean, the body's just different. It takes longer to recover. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? Just hormones are different. Just everything's different. So you have to train differently.
Definitely. Most of the people that come in to do the water aerobics have like hip replacements, knee replacements, lots of shoulder issues. Some people even have like hardcore neck issues,
Yeah.
and they just do what they can. A lot of it's a lot of just social stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, there's a community there. And then also, it's like physical therapy essentially for a lot of these guys.
I think
That's
so,
what it
yeah.
sounds like
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. You do like a head to toe warm up for like 5 minutes, and then I implement like 15 minutes of like aerobic activity, like jumping up and down, doing jumping jacks, running in place,
Yeah.
swinging your arms different ways. And then we get on the wall. If they're balanced enough, they don't have to use the wall. A lot of them use the wall to hold on to so they can do all their left legged exercises. Then they do their right legged exercises. Then we get out the water weights at the very end. And then we play this game called Don't Drop the Ball. I'm in the middle. They're all around the circle. We get a beach ball. And we hit the beach ball back and forth. I hit it twice to each person. And we try to go as long as we can without the ball hitting the ground.
Yeah. So it's like a game. They're having fun.
Yeah, we just broke the
Yeah.
record like 2 months ago.
You guys,
2,690.
you fuckers are setting records in
Dude,
there.
I know. I was like, where's Guinness?
That's funny, bro. Yeah. So you guys have like the I used to see when I worked at 24-hour fitness, I used to see the water aerobics class in there and they had like the
They're like the big foam water weights.
yeah, you guys use those shit.
That's exactly what it is, dude.
Oh, that's some funny ass shit, man. But hey,
It
man,
is
it helps
funny.
so many people though.
It does. The first couple of years, I was just like, God, I'm like 23 years old teaching all these like old people. But, like as time went by and you just build relationships with people,
Yeah.
that just like all goes away. It's like, why was I ever even nervous? Like I have a really good time.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like old people are funny. You miscount, like you're on number 9 and then you go to 11, you can hear them all be like, oh my God, it's just Zach best.
They
So
start
it's like,
whispering.
yeah, dude, it's so funny.
That's so funny. Yeah, man. It's weird because, I mean, an old person, like once you get to a certain age, it's like society likes to forget about people. But, I mean, they're no different than
They
you.
have the biggest hearts more than anyone
Well,
there is, too.
I start like thinking about like whenever I'm 70, like what I'm gonna be like. I'm still gonna be me,
Totally.
right? So it's like, fuck, dude. I can only imagine some of the stories. Have you heard some crazy ass stories from these people?
Yeah, yeah, there's been
I
some
mean,
cool
they've lived
stuff.
life.
They do live life. They love to travel too. My oldest client, she's 92. She has a walker. Her kids bring her to class every Tuesday and Thursday
Yeah.
for my 10 o'clock class. Super good dudes. She loves traveling, and she goes to this casino in Kansas City like all the time. I think it's Kansas, maybe somewhere outside of Topeka, Kansas. I can't remember where
I
it's
don't
at.
fucking know, dude.
But she loves gambling, so she goes gambling like 3 or 4 times a year, no matter what she does. And then some people, I'm like, hey, why weren't you at last session? She's like, I was just hanging out, traveling, meeting new people, all this other stuff. And it's like you say like one wrong like word in class, they take it as like something. Sometimes people are like, what the hell did Zach just say? What did he just say? And then sometimes they'll just like go around, they'll talk some like really, really crazy conversations and just start whispering to each other. And I'm like, are you guys talking about me? Are you guys over there talking about me? And then they'll just start blushing and being like, yeah, we're just talking about you. We were just talking to my granddaughter or grandson about how handsome our water aerobics instructor is. And
That's funny.
they just like to turn stuff into like sexual shit. Because like usually when they see me like in public, I'm like, hey, how's it? I'll walk up like, hey, how's it going? And they like look at me like really, really weird. You know, a lot of them live in the community that I live into. So if I see them like in public, I'll be like, hey, how's it going? I'll wear a hat, my hoodie, my sweatpants, and they're like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So like some of the crazy stories are like, who is this guy? And I'm like, hey, Teresa, it's me, Zach. She's like, Zach? I don't notice you with clothes on. That's what they all tell me all the time. Like,
because you're in the water with them, right, when you teach?
of course, I'm in the water. I do the same exact thing that they do the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't sit outside the water and count for it. Like I count for them and stuff, but I do everything. It's great.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, so they're so used to seeing you in the pool setting.
Totally, just with like shorts, no shirt on, no shoes or like just in the pool, you know.
Yeah, that's so funny how we do that, right? We just associate people with like the places that we see them the most,
Yeah,
and if they're in a uniform, your case being fucking swim
swimsuit.
trunks,
Yeah, swim trunks.
yeah, it's like they don't recognize you otherwise.
Right. I'm like, I got this big ass beard. It's like you still don't recognize me. They're like, I was just looking at your clothes. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's funny, man. Yeah, no, dude, that's some interesting shit, dude. I wonder what are you gonna do whenever they all start dying on you? As fucking morbid as that sounds.
Well, dude, since
I'm
I've been
just-
doing it for like 8 years, man,
That's
I've
morbid
seen.
as fuck of me, isn't it?
No, man, it's natural.
Well, I mean,
It's kind of funny though, but like I've seen like
But
I would teach for like 6 or 7 months, and then you don't notice like a couple of people who are really quiet in your class. There were like people that were like in and out a lot,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, whatever happened to blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, she died.
Well, in all
I'm
fairness,
so
we're all getting
sorry.
older always.
I think the most fucked up part about it is like I don't find out the person passes away until like a week later, and they've already had their funeral, and I'm never able to make anyone's funeral.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, like they always bring in me like the little piece of paper obituaries, and I have them like at my house and stuff. Because
Yeah.
I would say there's probably been almost a dozen that have like passed away in the last like 8 years.
Man, that's tough though to get to know people and then like they're just gone, but you know like it's gonna be happening soon anyway.
Yeah, and I think what the best part is like their family comes in and thanks you for like
Yeah.
being with their mom, and you know you were the only this class, and you were like the only interaction she had for a long time.
For a lot of old folks, yeah, man, like whenever you're at home and like you're not working, you're just like you look forward to certain interactions. Otherwise, you're just like at home by yourself.
Yeah.
Unless you're like one of those people who are just fucking with it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're out there, they're moving and grooving, they're traveling and shit. But for some of these folks, I imagine like that's probably the highlight of their day, like getting up there in the morning, getting some movement in, getting some community, and then
Yeah.
whatever they're doing the rest of the day, who knows?
And just
But-
making sure, like when I ask like the kids or anything, or their friend who takes my class, I usually ask them like, did they go away like peacefully? Like were they happy? You know. And
yeah.
one lady, she would have 2 beers every single day in the hospital.
She's like, it's my life. I'm living it.
Yeah, so like her kids brought in like her last couple beers, and she drank like I think like half of it or something like that.
Yeah.
And like her family was with her, and I think at that point they knew that like wow, this
Yeah.
isn't gonna happen. Like, you know, I think within like the last hour she had passed, but
Yeah.
it was just like the coolest, happiest story. She's like, I have my beer and I'm with my kids, and I think she was like 87,
Yeah.
and she took my class from when I started till like I think she missed like the last 2 months before she passed. But
My first job was in a nursing home, and I worked in the kitchen. I was a dishwasher. I did that for 13 months, I think I did that for. And dude, you talked about how like people just like stopped showing up in class and like you didn't notice. Bro, I had to go out and put waters in all the spots at the table before dinner and or whatever meal they're about to eat. And some of the people for whatever reason they had to have like a thickened liquid so that like the liquid wouldn't get into their lungs. And dude, there are times, man, I would put the waters at somebody's spot for I don't know how fucking long, and then I would find out that hey, dude, that person they don't sit there anymore. They passed away. I'm just like, fuck, dude, I've been putting their thickened water there for like 2 weeks, bro. You could have told me that.
yeah,
Yeah, man, that was an interesting experience, man. Like that was one of those things that really shaped the way I look at the like health and like the world for like the how I view like my future and how I want to live. Like was really shaped by like that experience because like my growing up, like my mom, she worked in a nursing home, so I kind of had a little bit of exposure there, and like my grandfather, he was in a nursing home, so like we would kind of visit him. But then like I got older, and like so I'm 15, 16 at this time. I'm working in the nursing home. I'm there all the time, and I just realized like when I get older, I don't want to be here. Like this is not where I want to be because a lot of those people, man, they were just like alone. Like they're just in their rooms, they're alone, they're by themselves. And I was like, man, like at all costs, like I'm going to do everything I can to be healthy and take care of my body and just and to be like fucking cognitively. There's the
There we
word.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a hard one for me this morning. Yeah, I just wanted to be. I want to have my wits about me. I wanted to keep my fucking brain sharp.
definitely.
And then I wanted to be able to move well, and I knew like you have to be healthy to do that, right? And so
Absolutely.
that was one of the things that like fucking like set me down that path of like wanting to always be healthy.
For sure. It's like the last straw for them. They know it. When you're in there and you're aware you're going into a place like that, unless you have like dementia or Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
like they're aware, like, wow, this is my resting place.
Yeah, dude, it's a shitty spot a lot of times,
It
dude.
is. I train a lady right now. She's 81 years old. I go there twice a week. St. Charles Cedarhurst retirement living place. It's like assisted living. They have
Yeah.
like a memory unit and stuff like that.
That's a
And
little bit better though. That's almost like an apartment.
definitely, it's like
Yeah.
more of an apartment, but they know it's like their last place they're probably gonna live and stuff.
Yeah.
Full cafeteria, super clean. It's nice. It's
Yeah.
nice, but it's different than a nursing home. It's like last straw stuff. They
But like a nursing home is like, dude, it's just like a hospital almost, but it's like not. I don't know how to put it. It's just like it's not nice where everybody's like fucking living like they have their own apartments. You know what I mean?
totally.
It's you fucking walk in. It's just this big open place usually. Like they have hallways, right? You have to go down the
Yeah,
hall, and everybody has their own room.
yeah,
It's like fuck, dude.
yeah. They have a what is it? Aberdeen Heights, where it's right next to Merrimack Community College.
Okay.
My wife's mother, my mother-in-law, is like this nursing supervisor there. So they have a really nice assisted living place, but they also have like a whole like unit for
Yeah.
like nursing home, and it's crazy. There's a guy that I train. I've been training him for like 7 years. He's 51 now. He had a stroke at 45 and went totally blind.
Oh wow.
And his caregiver at the time was a person that I was training. And David's his name. He's the one who had a stroke and went blind. His sister, who is his like primary guardian, was like, "Hey, do you know anyone that can help out with David?" And so I was training her at the time. She's like, "Yeah, my trainer Zach can help him out." So I've been training him every day, Monday through Friday, for like the last probably 5 years. We were like once or twice a week for the first like year or two,
Yeah.
and then now I'm with him 5 days a week. He was like totally at it. We played tennis. I can drop the ball and he can smash it over the net all the time. He played as a kid. Like I retaught him how to do like so many things. Did like all his rehabilitation. We train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I take him shopping on Thursdays and do all of his grocery shopping. And then on Fridays we chill out in the pool where I
Ni-
teach.
Nice.
And like last November he had like a small little episode. And it kind of like brought him all down. He's having like a lot of trouble again. And we're still training and stuff. His training regimen isn't like nearly as it was before. And his short-term memory is like way worse than it used before. And he's very fortunate enough to have a very, very successful family to be able to help him out and have caregivers 24/7. So a caregiver lives at his house, his
Yeah.
condo,
Yeah.
and they take care of him.
That's a much better environment to be at home.
But the next thing that's going to happen in his life, if something happens, what I tell him the most is like, you got to give an effort. If you stop giving an effort, then you're going to end up in one of these places.
Yeah.
And he knows that if that's where he goes, he's going to die
Yeah.
because he'll decline so fast.
People give up there. Not everybody, but yeah.
He's trying, but it's hard for him.
Yeah.
And so I'm his only male interaction that he has.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's important to do humans, we need each other.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
We're social creatures. We like to think that we can do it on our own. I'm guilty of that for sure, man. Like I'm very reclusive at times and yeah, you can't. Got to have a team.
Definitely.
Yeah, community is important, bro. For sure, for sure. Oh, I had a question for you earlier. Oh no, I don't think you actually fully answered my question. So I went on a tangent. No, dude. Okay, so like now you're doing more of the 12-week challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what's next for you as far as like where do you see yourself like kind of progressing with your training, you know what I mean? Like you've been doing the water aerobics for a little bit now, right?
Yeah, and I'll always do that. It's a contracted job through the city that I live in.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then I teach like two late night classes on Mondays and Tuesdays because they came up to me like 3 years ago and they're like, "Hey, Zach, we would love for you to teach a fitness class up here. Would you be able to do that?" And I was like, "Well, I would only be available on Mondays and Tuesdays from like 7:30 to 8:20 because I want to be home by 8:30." They're like, "Done." So
Nice.
I do that on Mondays and Tuesday nights. And so for the last like 8 years, I've taught boot camp classes from Monday through Friday from 6 to 7. I did like package deals, I've done memberships and stuff like that. I was at a North County location for 4 years, and April 1st will be 4 years that I've been at St. Charles MMA.
Really? It's been 4 years already?
Yeah, April 1st.
Whoa.
2015, April 1st was like the first night that I had like my class.
Dang.
And so when I moved from like North County to St. Charles, I like lost like 100% of like my clientele like
Started
over
all
time
over.
and pretty much like started over. And for a few years it was going really good. I had members, I was like making money, and it was fun. It was just like another thing I'd like to do. And as time went by, I had a child. And so I had like a group of like 5 or 10 members of my class that were coming. And then eventually like they just slowly like started not coming as much. And I would teach like 2 and 3 people, and then sometimes I'd go there and no one would even show up.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm leaving my daughter and my wife for like 2 hours to come here and train, which is awesome because I really want to help people. That's what I'm doing. And I was like, babe, I just like almost had like a crazy meltdown and was like, man, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
From 6 to 7 at night, like I can't do it. Like I'm busy all throughout the day, but I really wanted to like progress and make something like really big at nighttime where I can, make a lot of money and help a lot of people at the same time and be able to interact with people because that's what I love to do. And I was like, all right, babe, I'm not doing this anymore. So then I just sat down and like pretty much over the last like 8 years that I've been doing it, I just kind of designed a 12-week challenge program through what I've taught and what I've learned over the last 8 years. And so there's like 3 stages of the program. There's like a 1 through 4 week stage, a 5 through 9 week, and like 9 through 12. And it's all like beginner all the way up until you're going to be able to like create your own workout, eat well. Because through the program, you're going to do 12 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 6 to 7. And then you're going to learn MyFitnessPal, which is going to teach you how to like track all your food, scan your food, break up your macros, like your proteins, your fats, and your carbs based off what their goals are so they can reach them. So there's like from a nutritional standpoint, that's like kind of what they're going to learn.
Mhm.
And then they're going to train 4 nights a week with me for 12 weeks. And so my goal is to get 10 people signed up in a 12-week challenge program. My first challenge program ended on December 6th, and I got 3 people in that program, and they saw a lot of awesome results. And they all signed up for my second program that just started this past Monday, which was January 7th.
Yep, that was the 7th.
January 7th. And at like 4:30 p.m., I had my 10th person like message me on Facebook and be like, "Hey, is there any spots left?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got 1 spot left."
Yeah.
And so like at 4:30, just like I had set my mind on 7 because like 2 days prior, I had 7 people signed up.
Yeah.
3 more people signed up within like the 2 days, and today's Wednesday, going on the third day of my second 12-week challenge.
Yeah.
It's going really good.
So let's say that you start uh selling out all of these challenges and you start adding classes. Are you still gonna have time to do the water aerobics? You're still gonna keep
I
doing
was
that?
I
I mean,
literally was just talking to my wife like
I mean, as
two
you
days ago about that, and I was
as you
like,
build your own brand, why would you want to keep working for somebody else?
of course, of course. I think about that like all the time. And I think about like my connection that I have with these people that come to the water aerobics every day and how like loyal they are to me because without them I wouldn't have that job
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have the experience of like keeping my body moving well also because I think I take it for granted because I get to do it with them.
Yeah.
And if I didn't teach it, let's be honest, I probably wouldn't go to the pool and like do the things that I'm like showing all these people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So it's like the ultimate goal is to really like start selling out these 12-week challenge programs, start working with like groups of like 10 people, keeping it really small, having those 10 people work out at the same time for 12 weeks, build that camaraderie and that group teamwork together so they can work together. And eventually, like as like a fitness professional, like your main job is to get the person you're helping results. That's it. that's like ultimately like what they're paying you for. That's why they're coming to class, is because they want to change.
Yeah.
Because it's not about me. It's like about the people that you're trying to help.
Yeah.
So you got to put all your attention to them, because if you don't get them results and if you don't help them mentally also, because I think just as you start working out, you just feel better in general, regardless of like when you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like what you look. If you don't like what you look like, it's like working out's still going to make you feel like way better inside no matter what.
Oh yeah, man.
Like it is the best medicine.
There's so many things going on.
It's the best medicine ever.
Yeah, 100%, man. Movement is an antidepressant.
So getting those 10 people together and just like being super redundant about believing in them, knowing that they can achieve their goals, because all 10 people that are doing the course right now all have 10 totally specific different goals. So you got to meet up with each individual by themselves to build that personal relationship with them on top of training with them. So like when you're training them and you're watching them work out, you know exactly why they're doing that. Because if as a trainer, if you don't know why they're doing that, then you're not going to know how hard to push somebody.
Yeah, I like how you're building the community into it. It's going to be challenging to scale that, to scale the, because you're like combining a class, a group, like a group setting with like a personal touch, right? I mean, you're
Totally.
combining those, right? And normally, like that's when things get separate, right? You can't be private one-on-one. You can't have like, privatized fucking training in a group setting, but that's what you're attempting to do.
Yeah, so I think,
That's gonna be challenging.
and I think keeping it small, having 10 people, because it's
10
only
people.
like an hour workout, right? So basically, you put them all through like an assessment, see what type of fitness level they're in, see what they can and cannot do, what type of issues do they have. Do they have knee issues? Do they have ankle issues?
Yeah, you got to
Do you have
assess
to
them.
modify everything? So like you just have to study your client really, really well when you first start with them. Write notes down at nighttime. So
Yeah.
when you're meeting up with them the next day, it's like, hey, I saw you doing this yesterday. When we do this today, do it like this. So it's like you're trying to put that personal touch on each individual.
Right. Well, I guess so. How are you gonna have more? So you have the one. I think that works great with like one group of 10.
Of course. So if you do a group of 10 from 6 to 7, you do like another group of 10 from like 7 to 8.
Right. So how do you? So that's 20 individuals of. That's 20, right?
20, yeah.
So how do you give them each that one-on-one time to assess them all?
So
How do you
my
scale
goal
that?
first, so basically when you write like a business plan, it never goes 100% the way you
Well, no,
write it.
dude, business doesn't
So
go.
it's just to
We're
say,
just,
so
I'm just talking through it with you, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. So what
yeah,
I'm doing now is I'm meeting up like 20, 25 minutes early with like one person
yeah,
and doing that like 4 times a week. So you're getting like at least two, like maybe up to an hour with one individual at the beginning and like towards the end of like the 12-week problem, because you want to see what their mindset is through
yeah,
like the program. It's like, hey, do you think you're doing okay? Like, what do you think you need to work on? Is there anything that I need to be doing different? Like, what
yeah.
do you need more attention?
How long are
Because
those sessions that you how like those when you meet with them? How long is that you're meeting with them
it's
for?
about 25
About
minutes.
25 minutes.
And basically, it's like to
One-on-one.
reevaluate their goals.
Yeah.
How's tracking my fitness pal? Because on top of that, we're going to do like half-hour sessions before class, because there's a whiteboard at the studio where you can write down the equation to help them track their macros. So they're going to come in, all of them, get their phones out, get their pencils out, and we're going to go over my fitness pal as a group together like 3 or 4 times through the next 12 weeks also.
Yeah.
So basically, at the end of the 12 weeks, you should be really confident to do just like the 4 basic exercises, like the pushing, the pulling, the hinging, and the squatting. It's all basic like movements that us humans like need to perfect. Because if you perfect those, you can branch off and then do more complex exercises.
Yeah, no, push, pull, squat, hinge, all important. You do need rotation, gait, those are also important.
Yeah, of course, but they have to
Lunging.
perfect those like basics first before you
Well,
even.
those are also in addition. So, I mean, I would say there's like 7 basic movements, right? So you have your push, your pull, your squat, your lunge, your hinge. Wait, yeah, push, pull, squat, hinge, lunge. You have your like your gait, like your weighted carry, and then you have like rotation. It's like all those like there's rotation in every movement that you do. So like those are all important.
Agree.
Yeah.
But most of those people that are in the class, I would say, can't even like perform a lunge right now.
Yeah.
Some can, some can't. So working with like a group of 10 people, right? That's a really good question, because as those people progress, then you put those people through more of like a rotational exercise with like a lunge and like a core twist than just doing a stationary lunge like in place
Yeah.
because you can't step backwards because your balance sucks or because you're overweight and you're going to load the pressure on your front knee. So there's just, like you said, you got to modify everything, and you
Yeah.
really got to be on your toes a lot because I don't think one person can take on 20 people at one time. I would
Right.
have to have maybe at least two other people helping me run the class, perfecting people and helping push people and making sure they don't hurt themselves
Like during the class.
during the class, correct?
Yeah.
Because I think me as an individual, I can do 10 people at one time, no doubt. I've ran classes of 20 by myself.
Yeah, well, I'm not thinking necessarily running the class. I guess what I was thinking about is like the group piece is the easy part, but when you start adding like the personal piece, that's when it gets from a time demand perspective.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then you try to start scaling that. Like eventually, you're only one person, right?
totally.
Eventually, like there's so I mean, like you mentioned the other people like leading. So maybe you have like other people like running some other classes. Are they also going to be doing the like the one-on-one piece as well?
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and the one-on-one piece isn't to like dig deep emotionally.
Oh, right.
That's only like if that individual starts expressing that.
Right.
But at least getting like, because before the program even starts, you have like a good consultation and you meet up with them like
Uh huh.
way before it even starts, so you can
Yeah,
get a good grasp of like, hey, what's even going on with you?
for
What are you
sure.
trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Because some people want to lose a lot of weight, and some people just want to feel better about themselves because they don't mind what they look like.
Yeah.
They're just like slow, sluggish, they're tired, and they don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah, it's definitely important to have like that meeting up front before you start training. To like one, like to even figure out like, do you even like me like as a person? Like,
For
like do I
sure.
like you? Can we even work together? Because maybe I'm not the
Yes.
best person for you. Like maybe it's like, all right, maybe you came to me, but all right, well Zach's a better trainer. Maybe you should go train with Zach. You know what I mean? Because like whoever you are and like Adam, like we don't get along. We're just like it's just like our because we're all humans, right? And sometimes personalities don't go well. But then, like you said, you want to get the information. Like you want to get a baseline, get like you want to assess them, figure out like how do they move, what are they doing, like what are their goals. Like that's all important for sure.
Yeah, I think my passion scares them away a lot of the times. Like I
Yeah.
just get so intense with it, and just like sometimes I just feel like I'm so overloading in their fucking face. They're just like, oh my god, Zach is just so crazy. And then usually
Zach
sometimes
it's
when I meet up
Zach.
with someone, like my first like probably 3 or 4 years I was training, I would train anybody, dude. I
Yeah.
would freaking train anyone. I think I only charged like $25 an hour,
Yeah.
and I just didn't care because I wanted to help so many people. I was just so naive, and it's just like now if I meet up with you and training with me is like something you're interested in, it's like, hey man, this is what you're going to get out of me. This is what I expect out of you.
Yeah.
And then they see like this thing list of like stuff. It's like, wow, I thought I was ready to like change my life and my lifestyle, but he's really asking a lot of me. I don't think I can do that. And then you really find out who really wants to change and who doesn't want to change.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't have so like yeah, dude, I don't have time to waste with people like that. You know what I mean?
I
So
did, but I don't anymore.
yeah, that's why like you won't see me like I won't be cheap like with my time, you know what I mean? Like people want like I'm all about providing value and I give away a ton of value and like I'm always just like you sit there and have a conversation with me and I'll give you all the information that you probably fucking need to go do it. But the question is like are you really going to go do it? You know what I mean? Like that's why it helps to have that accountability and like have that professional there, you know what I mean? Because I've trained people and like I've taken them through a workout and they think they got it right, like they know it.
Yeah.
But as soon as they go by themselves, you know, it's totally different. So it helps to have that professional, and you can't cheapen yourself by like giving away, like, come train with me for $25.
Right.
Like that's you just gave away your time for 20. Like that's you know
And
what I
to me,
mean.
that was a lot.
Yeah, you just yeah, but you
I was,
devalued yourself.
I
You know what
know,
I
to
mean?
get that client
And the
who
type
really wasn't focused or really motivated, just like, wow, I can learn some cool stuff from this trainer who's only charging
yeah,
25
the
bucks.
people that want to pay that money aren't serious. You know
Agree.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what, dude? Like, if you want to train with me, like, this is who I am. Like, this is what is expected. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna work together. You know what I mean? And like, this is what I charge. And either you're serious or you're not. You know what I mean? So like, you can't like cheapen your brand by trying to help everybody.
I totally 100% agree.
Yeah, I think I was listening to it wasn't a podcast. Oh, you know what it was? I did a coaching call with Leo Savage, and I think one of the things that he learned through the Strong Coach program that he went through was like you can't your service shouldn't be at a sacrifice. You know what I mean? So I think especially like us as trainers, you know what I mean? Like we'd be willing to like go lead a class and really devalue, like essentially not get paid what we're worth. You know what I mean? But it's just like, no, man, it's like I want to go like lead a class and help people, but I also need to get paid for my time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's just like kind of one of those things that you try to balance with, like trying to provide as much value as you can without actually being like a sacrifice to yourself.
100.
Yeah, man, that's something I try to think about all the time, all the time, dude. Because like like in the training space, you're just always giving, giving, giving.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of like why I came up with like my own 12-week challenge program. You're going to be with like the same individuals day in and day out who are motivated and dedicated to like reach their 12-week goal.
Right.
And by the end of the 12 weeks, you should be able to like go out and work out on your own, wherever you want, whenever you want, with so much confidence.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you found that balance, right? Because you were sacrificing time with your family and you realized, like, I still want to give and help, but not at a sacrifice. And the 12-week program was your solution.
Yeah, definitely. So I took a full month off, and I did a little advertising. Like I said, I only had 3 people signed up in my first 12-week program, but I was like, I'm totally going to dedicate all my time to these 3 people every single night. And
Yeah.
all 3 people, they never missed one class. They came
Nice.
the whole 12 weeks.
That's dope.
They all got results. They didn't get their end result because I think a 12-week span isn't something they could achieve all their goals in.
No, depending on what the goals, like, I mean,
Absolutely.
you wanted to lose in 12 weeks. I mean, I don't know what you want to lose, like 15 pounds. We can do that.
Of course.
15, 20 pounds. That's
Yeah,
no problem. We can do that in 12 weeks, in like a safe, sustainable way. But depending on what your goals are, 12
absolutely.
weeks is just the start.
They all liked it so much they all 3 signed up for my next program.
Hell yeah,
And then I eventually just sold out the program with about an hour and a half before it even started.
that's dope, dude.
So I'm very blessed. I'm like,
Yeah, well, you're grinding, man, and I love that about you. I mean, myself being an entrepreneur as well, the buzzword entrepreneur, just trying to fucking make it happen at the end of the day, right? Just trying to just live,
yeah,
just trying to build your
yeah,
own fucking thing.
you're just trying to play chess with the outside world and you're the king, man. It's like, what moves can you make to just go a little bit further each day?
Yeah.
And I've been behind so many times. I've been training for almost 10 years. On January 14th, it'll be 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And this is how I actually very first started training my first clients. My brother, my older brother Josh, was in school to be a chiropractor. He lived in Chesterfield with his wife. She was already a physical therapist. And I woke up at like 4:15 in the morning on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I would drive out to Chesterfield and get there by 5 a.m. And I would train my brother Josh from 5 to 6, and then I would train his wife Lindsay from 6 to 7. Then I'd go home, I would sleep for a little bit, and I'd go work at the pool.
Yeah.
And if I had any afternoon clients at the time, I would just like train them after that.
Yeah.
And I did that for probably a good 6 or 7 months. And it was cool because Lindsay was a physical therapist and Josh was like studying hardcore to be a chiropractor. And it was just good to like go through a huge learning phase without having to even train anyone like that I didn't know personally.
Yeah.
And then eventually I started training like a couple of their friends here and there. And then that's kind of like how it slowly evolved to get like more one-on-ones. And then I was able to quit lifeguarding. I was doing a whole bunch of one-on-ones. And then I started doing all the water aerobics.
Nice. Nice. It's a fucking journey, dude. That's for sure. That is for sure. I uh I went real heavy like on the so I trained as a like an undergrad and I worked at supplement superstores as well. So like I got like a fucking great supplementation like education as far as supplements and whatnot, dude. That was working at supplement superstore, supplement superstores, plural, was like one of the best experiences for multiple reasons. But yeah, so like I did that and that was undergrad. But then once I got my degree, like I tried to do the whole like let me go the corporate route because that's what I was told I was supposed to do,
For
right?
sure.
So, but like during that whole time, I never stopped learning. It's always been a passion. Like it's always really been like where my heart has been. Like
Yeah.
I've always been learning the entire time. So like last year, I just decided like once I committed to like this is where I'm going to be like building my life like I want to be training and coaching and helping. Like once I decided like that's the path, I just went super hot and heavy like on like all like the education and the like the credentials and shit last year, and then like this year is just more building, like less like of the getting the certs and more of like the building and the
Getting your brand out there.
yeah, getting my brand out there. So 2019 is shaping up to be a good year for both of us, my
Yeah, dude. I'm
friend,
really
dude. I'm
excited for
super
you, dude.
excited. Um, where can people get a hold of you if they want to train with you? How can they ask
They can
questions
uh,
and
they can find me on
touch base with
Facebook,
Zach?
Eyewitness Fitness Training and Wellness, or they can go to my website, ewftraining.com. They can find information about my next 12-week challenge program. They can find out information about one-on-one personal training, or if they have like groups of like 2 or 3. Um, I think possibly starting at the end of February, I'm going to start doing like morning classes, like maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And the schedule will be put up like a month in advance. And that'll just be a walk-in thing at first. So they'll just pay, come work out.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'm at 1861 Schroeder Parkway. My personal training studio is located inside of St. Charles MMA.
Yeah, I'll put all that in the show notes, dude. Cool, man. Anything else you want to leave the people with?
Uh, Thank you for your time, Adam. I really appreciate it.
Nothing
And
else,
I guess I'm
Zach.
going to leave everyone else with just keep grinding, keep trying. And there's been times in my life where I thought like I was going to give up, but from some stroke, I just tell people a lot when they ask me like what I do for a living. And they're like, whoa, you really do that? You can honestly like run your own little small company by yourself? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, well, how? It's like, well, because when I was like going through school and Miss Linda T changed my life, I found out then and there that I never really wanted to have a boss. I never really wanted anyone to kind of tell me how I should think and do things.
Yeah.
So I think that anyone can do anything that they've ever wanted to do. I started my journey at 21 years old. I'm 31 right now. And I'm honestly thinking that it's like finally like getting started.
Yeah, man. You just got to be able to, you have to be willing to put in the work and fucking sacrifice. But at the end of it all, man, like it'll totally be worth it.
Yeah, I will. And I'm never going to sell out for anybody. So it's just like you hear so many times people who regret things that they never try to do in life. And I'm just trying to do what I think I'm not going to regret.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, we'll end on that,
Hell yeah.
Zach.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, everybody.